My name is Joe Jacobs, and I would like to welcome you to my layout here and give you some information about it. The layout is in a room 20 by 26 feet. It's set up with two double track main lines, and the idea for that came from the fact that I live about 3 miles from the Lehigh Gorge. Years ago, the Lehigh Gorge was the home of the Lehigh Valley and Central Railroad of New Jersey main lines, and thus that gave me the idea for the two double track main lines that you see here. There's about 2,000 feet of Atlas track here and 200 pico turnouts on the layout. The signals are by Atlas and they're controlled by Dali Electronics block detectors. This layout was built with the help of my wife Nancy over a period of about 9 years. And Nancy did all of the scenery, the green work, and the detail work, thus coming up with the name Nancy and Joe lines, or N&J lines for short. That pretty much covers everything about it. I will give you a tour around the complete layout. Underneath, on the lower level, when the trains go down, there is a 8-track staging yard on each one of the main tracks, so that I can store 32 trains under there and bring different trains out onto the layout without having the same ones running all the time. So with that said, let me just give you a quick tour of the railroad. The railroad starts on the east end, coming out of the Lehigh Gorge. This is where trains enter and leave the main, the scenic part of the layout. As we continue from there, we pass through a little village. Any of the locals would know it as the tannery. I have modeled this kind of freelance, so there's things that aren't exactly the way they are, but some of the locals would recognize it. And we travel along there. And now we're coming up into the Narrows. And on the west end of the Narrows, the mountain subdiverges off the main line and goes up the mountain while the main line continues in front of the farm and on into the next town. Up on the mountain, there's a stone quarry operation, and also farther west there is a paper mill on that level up there. On the main lower level is another village. There is a Amtrak station here, which is served by Amtrak, and some other houses, other activities in the town here. A little small town, could be the town of Whitehaven. On the mountain sub, when the trains reach the top of the grade, there's a line branches off which serves the paper mill and the quarry, and there's a small yard there, 4-track yard, to handle the cars that are up here for any of the industries that need to be serviced. There's a small station on this level that's taken care of with an RDC to take people down to the main terminal of Amtrak to get on the mainline trains. As you come around to this side, this is more of industry here. On this side there's a lumber distributing company, there's a warehouse, there's a farm supply store, a Caterpillar dealer, cement works, propane gas, fuel oil dealer, and a grain elevator and a truck transfer terminal on this part here. And then we get down to the area that I call the big curve, and you can see on the inside track there's a third rail, or third track. That is that bring local trains from the other side, from the yard on the other side, over to this side to service the industries without following the main. On this side of the mountain is pretty much the railroad activities area. We have the engine shops here coming up first, and the east end of a second track yard. You also have a Conrail office there, and a maintenance away department, and a little bit farther west is the car shop, and then the yard extending beyond that. On the upper level, we have a little village and the end of the 4-track yard for taking care of the industries on the upper level. And as we come around where the control tower is, the track again diverges. One goes around the mountain to service the quarry and the paper mill, and the other track comes across to the lumber company and the breaker that's on the upper level. As we come around here, you will see behind the foundry is the mountain sub coming back to join back in with the main line here, just ahead here at the control tower. And you will see the breaker on the upper level. And as we move on, we get to the western end of the layout where the trains either enter or leave from the western end. And that pretty much is a description of the N and J lines. And hopefully this will give you a little insight of what we have here.